Welcome to Shop Live with Mimi and Russ from the beautiful studio of Brummett Jewelry Design Studio in North Raleigh or Midtown, depending on where the border moves each and every week. We're very thankful that you guys are joining us tonight. We hope that you will enjoy tonight. We're going to talk about emeralds.
Yes.
Emeralds from all over the world, but basically three main sources that are the predominant sources. Emeralds are very beautiful, they're very rare, they're very desirable, and they also maze birthstones, so it's a great time to have emeralds. We got a lot of beautiful stones to show you tonight too.
Yeah, we know somebody here who has a May birthday, Mr. Brummett.
Yeah.
Got a big one coming up
Oh,
next
got a
week.
big one. I don't wanna hear about
Wish
it.
him happy
I
birthday.
don't want to hear about it.
I wouldn't either if I was you. So thanks for joining
close.
us. I'm always close, but I never catch up with you, so that's how that goes.
That's true.
So yeah, we're going to talk about emeralds. We have had so many clients lately shopping for emeralds,
Yes.
and it's been really fun. Russ is going to explain to you about the the world market situation. We found out some interesting things about emeralds and what's available and that type of thing. So we're going to talk about that, and he's got lots of loose gemstones also. We're going to show you loose emeralds, different countries, and we're going to show you loose gemstones that could be an emerald alternative. They are natural.
But nothing
they're
ever
different
takes the place of an emerald.
No.
It really doesn't. It doesn't.
They're so beautiful. So we're just doing my research for tonight. I'm going to talk about Colombia, Brazil, and Zambia, and just what I've learned today reading about the countries. It's been quite interesting.
Those are the three major regions for emeralds. Emeralds, however, come from about a dozen places. We have a picture, I believe, Gabrielle's going to try to put up on the screen to show you. Emeralds come from various countries, but the predominant stones, as Mimi just said, come from Colombia, Brazil, and Zambia. Those are the prize stones, the high quality stones, the stones that are most desirable and most valuable. Emerald prices are like a lot of things right now. They're going through the roof because of the rarity of them. As Mimi was mentioning earlier, I did a little research today. I'm trying to find a matched pair of emerald cuts for some earrings. We just made a beautiful ring for a customer, and now she wants some emerald cuts to go with her ring. I called 4 sources today. No one had matched pairs in the quality that we were looking for to match her
So
ring.
surprising.
Major sources. One of them is the largest emerald dealer from Colombia in this country, and they actually were on National Geographic a few years ago, so he's a prime source. That's how rare these stones are. They're becoming very difficult to come by, especially the qualities that most people want. Tonight we're going to show you a variety of things as far as colors go. Emeralds are opinionated as far as what people want. They're used to seeing these deep, dark green colors that the mall stores carry. Yeah, green's nice, but if the green has no life, has no beauty, has no transparency, it doesn't reflect light. It's not really a beautiful stone. So it's not about the color all the time. It's about the clarity as well. Also the cut and how it's designed. We have stones tonight. We're going to show you some basic commercial goods that you see in a lot of the cluster rings and things you see at a lot of stores. We're going to have things up to gem quality emeralds that are from Zambia and from Brazil. And so let's get into it.
You know, one thing you
Let's show
didn't
them.
mention, and I'm sure people watching will think, we always hear this, well, they found emeralds in North Carolina too.
Yeah, matter of fact, one of the most beautiful emeralds found is in Tiffany, their store in New York. It was found in Hednite, and there's a little young man at the time, was about 25 years old, bought some land up there.
Everybody thought he was crazy.
It's not crazy. He found a ton of really nice emeralds. North Carolina has some beautiful emeralds in one particular area. It's amazing. You know, it's funny how the earth is. Gemstones tend to grow in veins in particular areas. Diamonds are found in kimberlite pipes. Emeralds are kind of the same way. They grow in particular regions, particular ways. And North Carolina is fortunate to have one small area that's beautiful. Well, let's get into the big areas. Maybe let's talk a little bit about Colombia first. Colombia is famous for their emeralds. But before you do that, let's wait on that.
Okay.
So we're going to talk a little bit about Colombia. Colombia is famous.
We're going to do Brazil first,
You are? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm wrong.
because it's shorter. Alright, well, Brazil is a huge country in South America. It's one of the it's, I guess, the biggest country in South America. Gabrielle and I were blessed to be able to go there on a missions trip and, realize just being on the Amazon River, how big that country is. They're known for so many different things, but they've always had a reputation for emeralds, as has Colombia. They just have different characteristics. Since the 1970s, Brazil has been a consistent source of emerald. This is especially true today with steady production in the, here I go with these Spanish words,
Here we go.
and this is Portuguese, the Itabira Nova Era belt in the gem-rich state of Minas
Sounded good,
Gerais.
didn't
Thank you.
That was brilliant.
Just say it fast and nobody
Yeah.
will know. Along with successes, there have been challenges for the Brazilian emerald industry. Increasingly strict environmental regulations and higher labor costs have made production more expensive. And I probably read that in all three of these articles.
Yes.
That's across the board. Mining companies have had disagreements with landowners, and there have been legal issues with the independent miners. Another challenging issue facing mining, cutting, and trading sectors is the rapid rise of the Brazilian real against the US dollar. So there's so many factors they have to look into, not only just finding the stones, but then how to get them into the market.
Speaking of what Mimi just said, right now a lot of these countries, Brazil, everywhere, Thailand, everywhere, their currency's being devalued, so they're actually hanging on to these gemstones because these gemstones are hard assets. They're not currency. They're not paper. They're not a fiat currency, which is most of what our money is. They're actually holding on to these things as hard assets, which is at the same time driving prices up. So if you're concerned about the stock market, if you're concerned about your other investments, and you're trying to figure some other way to have a hard asset, emerald's probably a good alternative for that. Sapphire, emeralds, rubies, they're all desirable. They've been around for centuries. Always a need, always a want. We've had several customers actually buying loose stones for that particular reason as a hard asset. You think about it, if you buy a nice quality emerald, and the way prices are going now, everything continues to go up, it's a pretty good investment. And what we try to do with people, if they want to buy loose stones like this, we do it as a brokerage service. We're not charging a retail price. So if you ever are interested and want to know about our brokerage service for buying gemstones, please let us know.
Okay, very true. And so we're going to go back to Brazil, just seeing this world economic situation. The Brazilian emeralds are not really known to be the cleanest and the finest in the world.
Wait till you see the two I have though.
But they do mine in abundance, so they mine a lot of small stones. This article explained that they send a lot of this small rough to India where the cutters cut them, and what they would do is make fashion jewelry. So we have this parrot brooch that has some emeralds. Brazil would be more known for cutting small, what we call mele, for fashion pieces, groupings, as opposed to like some of these bigger stones that would be a featured emerald.
The Brazilian stones, when you have a gem quality stone, we actually have a couple we'll show you tonight. Their gem quality stones are second to none because they tend to look like a mirror. You know, when you look at a glass mirror, that reflection looks like it's almost 3D, and sometimes it is. It has this unique sparkle to it. Brazilian stones are that way. They're kind of a yellowish green tone to them. They're really incredible. We have two beautiful stones we're going to show you shortly, so
Okay.
stay tuned.
It's interesting, each mine has its own inclusions, and especially emeralds from these parts of Brazil, they have what they call a 2-part or 3-part inclusion. So there might be, like, if you can imagine, an elongated air bubble, it might have a crystal or two in it. If you know enough about emeralds, you can look at those inclusions under the microscope and know exactly what mine they came from, not just the country, but specifically the mine.
The way they grow in the earth, they know
That's
that.
interesting.
It's pretty amazing how that happens.
So one interesting thing I found out in Minas Gerais, there's a called the Belmont property, and it was originally a cattle ranch, which remains there today. In 1978, Belmont has also operated as a well-known emerald mine. It's managed by Marcello, whose grandfather discovered emeralds on the ranch by accident. That was a good accident,
Very
wasn't it?
good,
It began as an open pit operation.
Cow stepped on it?
No, he probably did. They could have been kicking them all that time. I didn't know what it was. They brought in bulldozers and they removed weathered emerald-bearing material and transported it to a processing area where they washed what we call the rough and sorted it for size and for quality. After 2 decades of open pit mining, Belmont added underground operations in 1998. That's what's been interesting. What I've read today is about the different mining processes. You'll see how they vary as we learn about emeralds tonight. Miners were lowered into a 75-meter vertical shaft. This just gives me the heebie-jeebies. From which they dug side tunnels by hand or using explosives, and they removed the rough and brought it back up the shaft. An elevator carried 5 personnel as well as mine material in and out of the underground mine. During the writer of this article, his visit to Belmont in 2004, the company estimated there was only 10 to 15 years of production remaining in that one mine. So, Russ is talking about how hard it is, rare to find. We just can't pick up the phone and find emeralds like we used to. These sources are just not going to be there forever, as this article states. In the Minas Gerais district, they really started finding stones in 1988, which surprised me because in Colombia they've been finding them since the Spaniards were there, hundreds of years back.
Talks about all the Spanish ships that went down and emeralds were on them.
Yes. So the writer of this article saw considerable activity, miners in pits, tunnels, and shafts. The work was very labor intensive. The miners used some explosive, but mostly hammers, picks, and shovels. They would load the ore in wheelbarrows, take it to a washing area, and dump a barrel of water over it.
Wow.
Then a lot of times they didn't even have a water source nearby. They would have to bring the water in. The miners would then use hammers to break up some of the larger pieces of rough, shovel the ore onto a washing screen, and continue breaking the pieces with a hammer. They would then sort through the screen by hand to look for any of the rough that contained emerald crystals. These operations have tried to become more mechanized. But this said that one operation, the miner was, listen to this is even creepier. The miner was strapped to a cable and lowered by a winch into the mine and then brought back up with bags full of ore to be processed.
That's not a job I think most people would want to do.
No, I hope they were paying this fellow
I think probably was not paid
considerable.
anything.
But really, what I'm seeing is that most of these Brazilian mine stones are really more modern than they are ancient.
Yeah.
And so what we've learned is the Brazilian stones are smaller. They're not as high quality as what we'd see from Zambia or from Colombia.
As a matter of fact, show them all those Brazilian stones that we have
Yes,
sitting
go
right there.
To the light box. Gabrielle, you got it on?
Here you go.
Alright, here we have all.
Just dump them.
Whee!
There is a lot of emeralds. This is some stones we've collected over the years. I had a friend who used to be an emerald dealer from Brazil. We bought a bunch of little things. Basically, these were repair stones to replace things that had been, damaged or whatever. And not very expensive, but you can see there's a run of color, quality.
And they're hazy and included.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of inclusion. So emeralds are a type 2 stone, which means they're going to have inclusions in it, and it's actually referred to as jardiniere, which means the garden. So it's like if you had a clear pane of glass and you put Crisco on your fingers and touch the glass, you can still see through it, but you still see things, hazy, cloudy things.
Okay, well you see those. They're all over the place. They're not really lively. Now, let's show you some beautiful emeralds in comparison. The 2 top stones, the 2 smaller stones, are Brazilian gem quality crystals. Beautifully cut, magnificent stones.
This one and this one,
Yes.
okay,
The bottom two are from Ethiopia, which we're going to, excuse me,
no, Zambia.
Zambia, I'm sorry, Zambian stones, which we'll talk about as well. You kind of look at the colors of the stones. The Brazilian stones tend to be a little bit softer, kind of a yellower green, whereas the other stones tend to have a little bit more of a slightly bluish tint. It's hard to see in the light box again, but all these stones are gem quality, very clean crystals, very bright. But I tell you, of these four stones, the two Brazilians are very impressive, slightly lighter, not the deep color that most people used to see, but the quality of the light reflection and the clarity, I mean the purity of these are absolutely amazing. The stone on the bottom that you see, the emerald, the squarish emerald cut that has the half moon diamonds with it,
This one.
that stone is also very incredible. It's that rich, deep green that people think about when they see emeralds, and it also is a very high quality stone, minimal as far as occlusions go. And this stone is about 2.15 carats. The stone above it is a 2 carat stone, so you can kind of see a little difference in size, color, and weight. But those two stones are gem quality. The stone up top, which is the 2 carat stone, is $24,000. The bottom stone is $25,000. So you can see what happens when you go
The one
bottom.
with the diamonds.
Yes.
And there's no right or wrong on color. We always say you have an aha moment with color. They may be from different countries and may have different colors, but you may be drawn more to one color than you are to another.
The other smaller stones up top, you're ranging from about $9,700 to about $14,000 for the other two stones. So, because these are kind of the top of the line stones that you'll see if you're really wanting a high quality emerald that's going to be as beautiful as anything you'll ever see. These four stones fit the bill.
Yes, and one thing we didn't mention, Russ, we're not selling tonight. We're just educating on emeralds. These stones are for sale though, so if you're interested in any of the items that we show you tonight, just reach out to us.
Put these three in there.
Where's that from?
These three are these are also from Brazil and Zambia, I think. Yeah, the bottom two are Zambian, the top one is from Brazil. The elongated pear shape, I think, is one of the best buys that we've had in a long time in an emerald. The color is beautiful, the transparency, the sparkle. It's a beautiful stone. It's a carat 86, and it's $46.50. The one up top, the big stone.
It's a big
the
stone
long
for,
one.
yeah.
Yes, that is a great value. Pear shapes are beautiful in emeralds. These make great pendants or rings, especially if you angle them. The bottom stone in the corner is a cushion cut, which is also a very nice stone. You don't see a lot of cushions in emeralds. So these are stones we've got in recently, and they're all for sale. They're quite unique and quite beautiful.
Okay, yeah, and I think most people are probably familiar with the emerald cut. We're seeing more fancy color done in pear shapes. There seems to be a trend in that. But really, the gem cutter will cut the best shape they can to maximize.
Let's show these other two.
Where'd you go? What country?
We're back to, I think here are the, you know what? I
You
don't know.
want to think about it? Okay.
Wait,
All
I
right.
gotta remember.
So just to finish up talking about
Oh, no,
Brazil,
no.
really what Brazil is also dealing with stricter environmental regulations now, as they're dealing with the world monetary situation, and they're having to invest in more technology. So it's, labor costs more, everything costs more. So for them to be able to sell emeralds to a price that can get out into the world market and into jewelry stores, they just have to slowly sell them and make a little bit of money, or else we have the Japanese coming in and just paying crazy prices for things and driving prices up.
Well,
So.
I think that the thing is now that the Indian market and the Chinese market is also growing right now. Those two countries are starting to have a strong middle class. I was told at a recent conference that their middle class is going to grow by 400 million people. So you got 400 million more people buying jewelry, buying nice jewelry now. So as these stones are now, they're gonna continue, as I said earlier, to go up in value, so they could be, good assets. I don't normally tell people to invest in jewelry as an asset, but loose gemstones, high quality gemstones, high quality diamonds tend to always go up in value. So if you buy something like that, you hang on to it for a long period of time, or you pass it down to your family, you've got a pretty good chance of having a great asset for someone.
No doubt. So you ready to go to Columbia?
Yeah, before we do that, do
Okay.
this. Put these two in there.
All right. Like that.
Again, I've tried to find some earrings for a customer. I called 4 dealers, 5 dealers, 6 dealers. I found 2 pair that were within the reason of what we're trying to find. The bottom stones, when I got them, the smaller emerald cuts there, they're nice stones, but they're, to me, a little bit too dark. When you compare those to those ovals, look how the ovals sparkle. Look how they pop. That's why I say, dark, beautiful, deep green's not always the best thing. You want some lively sparkle from them. So I made some more phone calls today trying to find some more, and I found one other pair of emeralds out of 4 dealers, match pairs. They're hard to find right now. So again, as values go, assets go, emeralds a good time right now.
I agree. All right, you ready to move to Columbia?
Go to Columbia.
Okay, one thing I learned in reading about Columbia was, I didn't realize this, the first records of emeralds worn as jewelry date from the early days in the Roman Empire in references to stones recovered from now long lost Egyptian mines. Although the Egyptian mines may have introduced emeralds to the
I
Western
would have
world,
thought it would have been India, because India has a lot of emerald.
well, I can tell you why that happened.
Okay, let's hear it.
Historically, the finest emeralds have come from deposits in Colombia, which we were just talking about.
Yes.
So, most of these countries, what I learned about Zambia and Colombia is that they take most of the rough and they have always traditionally sent it to India to be cut. So, going back to Colombia, they've been mining emeralds since the Spaniards were there. Let me find where it's at. This is a long article. There are 2 main mines in which country, man? Colombia. There's the Cheever mine and the Muzo mine, and the Muzo mine is the one that we've always heard about. As long as I've been a gemologist, that was the famous mine.
We've had a state company we used to work with a long time ago. The state company always, when Bill came in with some pieces from that Muzo mine, he always goes, "I've got something special. I've got something special," because these stones were incredible. They typically are rich in color, transparent, bright, and very, very. And again, as Mimi said earlier, they have certain inclusions that are very identical to that particular mine. When you find those inclusions in an emerald, your stone goes up in value a lot.
Absolutely. So, going back to the Spaniards, this goes back to the 1500s, and Colombia was the place. Well, which country? Colombia. That's right. Colombia was the place. Excuse me. They've been mining since 1650. Well, the Cheever mine had been abandoned after 1675, and its location was actually became a mystery for 200 years. I thought this was so interesting. It had been worked so hard, and they had the indigenous people working the mine, and the Spanish government had to just kind of step in, and they stopped mining after a while. A man was able to go through the records in one of the cities, and they mentioned that that Cheever mine had been in a mountain pass where there was a gap where you could see the flat land beyond, and
It's like hit them off at the pass, Western.
yeah, he was able to figure out, the records were in Quito in Ecuador, but he went back, he was able to find the mine, and they did some mining. In World War II, everything just went wrong. There were some Germans who were working in this mine. The war started, and that ended the mining there. So there's been a long gap in time in Colombia where they weren't mining anything, like hundreds of years, but they're still famous for that. The government's had a big part to do with the mining, where they step in. They're trying to protect the indigenous people that were being overworked.
you get the blood diamonds, there was probably a lot more going
Yeah.
on with the emeralds.
The Cheever mine is the only privately owned emerald mine in Colombia today, which I thought that was interesting. This was a very long article. I think Gabrielle's got some pictures that she can put up to show you as well. We've got a crystal from the Cheever mine. It's a 632 carat piece of rough that now is in the American Museum of Natural History in New York. Did you have this one?
It's on the screen
Yeah,
now.
okay. And also a beautiful piece of jewelry is called the Hooker Emerald, which is
A
now
hooker?
the Hooker. Yeah, it's now in the Smithsonian. It says it's remarkably free of inclusions, usually associated with large stones. And let's see, I got one more picture. I had a picture of them actually mining the stones in Colombia. They tend to, it's a very rugged territory. It's hard to find places to even get to mine. So it's just always been really kind of hit or miss in that country for where they can find the rough. They're trying to find these calcite veins. They dynamite areas, they bulldoze up the rough, and they just kind of take the rough material off the top of the land, so to speak. Okay. That was a very long article. The Zambian article's very long, but I won't talk that long about it. Alright, so you got some more stones you wanna show?
I do.
Okay.
We've got some stones in the box we talked about. Let's pull those out. Still a couple of these in here. Again, here are a matched pair of pear shapes. We put some trillion diamonds on top just for fun. This can make a really nice pair of earrings. The top stones are classic little emerald cut, a little more squarish. But again, on that softer color tone, not quite as dark as a lot of people used to see, but these are minor inclusion stones. Really good values that we bought. These stones are Brazilian. And again, if you want a nice pair of earrings or a little pendant or even rings, this can make a really nice ring. Combine all three if you wanted to. Now, take a look at those. Mimi's got a little tray we're going to put in here next,
Okay.
just for fun. Now, we're going to talk about,
Try not to spill them.
start with emerald alternatives. She's going to get it in there.
Yay, I did it. Okay.
Emerald alternatives. Back in the late 40s, a man by the name of Carroll Chatham invented a process of growing emeralds. Basically, in a laboratory condition, he was able to take the molecules and the chemicals of emeralds and grow them. The top row of stones you see, they're Chatham emeralds. They're lab-grown emeralds. You can see they're nice bright green stones. They also do vary in color. You can pick out a tone and they'll do it for you, or they'll have them. But the stones tend to be a lot higher in clarity because they're very controlled. So you get a bright, clean, classic color that you want with minor or no inclusions. So they're really interesting. Below those, you'll see there's a whole suite of some Brazilian emeralds that we bought off and on, just to kind of give people an idea what they look like. You can see from very light colors to dark colors. You'll notice, you'll see a lot of black, kind of a dark tone to them. There's several processes that emeralds go through. Number one is oiling. They actually put oil in emeralds because emeralds are porous. They tend to be included. Those inclusions are porous. They'll actually pressure them with oil and it fills those fissures, those voids, and makes them a little bit more solid. Occasionally, you'll have a little bit of a dark spot, a little dark area because of that. But you can see natural stones versus the Chatham stones. Totally different look, totally different quality. The
Price.
price, the lab-grown stones tend to be about 10 times less expensive. So if you're on a budget and you want a really nice emerald, a Chatham emerald is a great way to go. We have sold a lot of these stones over the years. Continue to sell them. I love them. There's nothing wrong with them. If you want a beautiful piece of fashion jewelry, that's a great way to go. So there you go.
People are usually very receptive to that.
Exactly.
Alright, you wanna talk a little bit about Zambia?
Go ahead, tell us
Okay.
about Zambia.
Okay, Gabrielle's got some maps. I went on Google Earth and looked at some maps today because I'm not as familiar with Zambia as I am with some other countries in Africa. These mines are in an area that's kind of in the middle of the country, and there actually is one major mine, this one, and it's near a copper mine, which I thought was interesting. We put trace colors into the stone. It's called the Kafubu area.
Say that again?
Kafubu, so you can see on the map, it's right there in the middle, it's in a river area. On Google Maps, it was actually more populated than I thought it would be very remote, but this is an area where they're mining. You can see the Google Earth map, the up top. Aerial, thank you. View of the mine. You can see it's a pretty large area, and they're basically they're going and they're mining off the top. They're just going like strip mining layer after layer to find the emerald rough. We also had a picture of a very large crystal. You can see some of the equipment, the heavy moving equipment they're looking for these calcite veins to look for the stones.
That's what you're saying, calcite. There's certain minerals that emeralds are contained in. There's certain chemicals or minerals that diamonds are contained, like kimberlite. So these things are deep in the earth, and these veins of these stones or minerals push the emeralds up, push diamonds up to the surface or close to the surface where these mines are, where they start digging to find them, which is interesting. It's kind of like volcanic eruptions.
I thought this was interesting. It said exploration methods range from witchcraft and gut feel to the use of advanced geophysical methods, core drilling, and geological mapping.
Trust that more than the gut.
They have local miners, and they refer to them as sniffers, and they're experts in locating emeralds through careful field observations. So they know how to look at the topographical features of the land and just really like, maybe this is a good spot.
It's like a guy finding water with the Y-shaped piece of water. Yeah.
So in Colombia, their problem is it's very rugged terrain, very hard to get to get electricity and water and things in. This has been a very successful emerald deposit. It's worked by open pit mining. Because of abundant water during the rainy season, the underground work is not considered an option. The underground levels are too high and it's dangerous, so the country actually shuts it down when it's raining so no one is injured. The mining is done by removing the overburdened rock and with bulldozers, excavators, and large dump trucks. At all the big pits, the miners drill a series of holes, we have a picture of this, so that the explosives can be used to open the areas adjacent to the veins. Once emerald-bearing rough is exposed, mining is done manually with hammer and chisel by so-called chiselers. The recovered emeralds are put into cloth sacks and deposited into padlocked metal boxes. Security is a major problem during the manual extraction phase. The emerald-bearing zones must be heavily guarded at night to prevent access by the numerous illegal miners who become active after sunset. It is also not common for a chiseler to cover a newly discovered emerald concentration for later night excavation.
Yeah.
So I just hope by sharing all this with you that you'll just appreciate so much more when you see a beautiful emerald, what it takes to get it out of the ground, to get it into cutters' hands, into the jewelry market, and into the stores.
Yeah, the emeralds are so beautiful when you find a gem quality piece, a really rare piece, and that's why they're so expensive, because they're few and far between. Emeralds tend to not be a very clean, a very high quality stone. When you find them, they're extremely valuable, very desirable, and highly sought after.
Okay, do you want to show, you talked about the Chatham emeralds as a lab grown alternative to mined natural emeralds. Do you have some other gemstones you want to talk about that are green?
Two other things we're going to talk about. First of all,
it'll just be a few more minutes.
Put those in there.
Okay.
And those, if you want to listen to those. These are one of my favorite stones. They're Savarite garnets, which come again in Africa, the Savo Valley. These are green garnets. Savarite is the designation because of where they come from. But they have a more of a, I call it a forest green color, kind of a darker, rich green.
Have a lot of appeal. Our clients love
Yeah.
Severite garnet.
The great thing about them is they're extremely beautiful and durable. They're much more durable than emeralds. They're also highly reflective. They have a lot of sparkle, a lot of beauty to them. And
Clean.
they can
Clean.
they can be quite expensive as well, but not nearly as much as an emerald. But they're just a really gorgeous stone. And
We see them in all sizes.
yes, they also come from dark to very light colors, just like emeralds. Now, these are chrome tourmalines. Chrome tourmalines, chromium gives them this dark green color, this kind of foresty green color as well. Excuse me. They're also a good alternative, similar in color to emerald, but again, more of that forest, the evergreen colors. I guess the best way to say it, like a pine tree, like a Christmas tree. They have more of that tone than the yellowish that you see in a lot
So
of emeralds.
darker bluish
Yeah,
kind of type
darker.
of green. So this pair, these are the African Savarite garnets from Kenya. These are the chrome tourmalines.
Now, let's have some fun. Let's put the emeralds in there with them.
You can still see the little emeralds on the outside.
Let's put the emeralds in there with them.
Let's see if I can fit them in there.
Kind of move them
I
around.
might
a
have to
little
do like the game in the
There you go.
arcade where everything
bit.
falls off.
That's close enough. Get them close
You
enough.
remember that game with the quarters and that thing would go chee? I was always waiting for that shelf of quarters to fall off.
But again, if you're a green fan, here are the most beautiful green stones that you can buy. You can buy a high quality emerald, you can buy a Savarite garnet, or you can buy chrome tourmaline. But these are I think the most beautiful green gemstones in the world. Prices do vary, qualities do vary. We know a lot about them. We can guide you and help you figure out what's best for you and your budget, and for your lifestyle, and for what you want, what you like.
Do you want to show any of this finished jewelry as we finish up here?
Well, we got a couple of little pieces. Real quickly,
Well, wait, I'm sorry. Let's give them an idea of what the chrome tourmaline costs versus like the green garnets,
let's
the
just
Savarite
we're
garnets.
gonna do that. The chrome tourmalines run anywhere from a carat-and-a-half stone of about $795 up to a carat 70, which is about $1,500. So again, very reasonably priced stones, very beautiful. When you go to the Savarite garnets, the matched pairs that we have are about $2,600. And the other matched pair, the big rounds we have, these are some of the nicest Savarites that we have. These are about $3,300. So you can kind of see. But if we had emeralds the quality of these particular stones right here, they would probably be $20,000 to have some kind of brightness like these. So again, great alternatives, little different color tones, but everybody's eyes, everybody's wants and desires are different. So if you like green stones, we can show you some incredible ones.
Yeah, interesting enough, a lot of these are African stones.
Yep.
I don't know where the cream tourmalines are from.
Typically, those stones are from Brazil. Most of them are the chromes
They're
from
really
Brazil
pretty.
and Afghanistan, typically.
So we tend to see the green garnets, the Savarite garnets, more than these other stones.
The larger ones, like the 2, 3, 4 carat stones, that are very rare, that you get a little softer color with, and the Savarites can be quite expensive. They're typically $2,000 to $3,000 a carat. But again, to get an emerald of that kind of quality, it's $10,000, $20,000 a carat.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna finish it up here real quick. Gabrielle, you got the light box. All right, so this is one of our cadence bracelets. This is the Savarite garnet, the green garnet. You can still see the little natural emeralds down here. This is an alternative. This is green tourmaline. This is a cabochon, which has some cool inclusions. It's almost kind of sparkly.
That stone is great. In the sunlight, those inclusions actually make it look better because they twinkle. The inclusions reflect like a mirror. It's really a
It is
great, it's
pretty.
one of those beautiful
Yeah.
tourmalines.
It's so
I think
pretty
I've
in
ever
that yellow
had.
gold.
It really is.
This is the fancy, if you know anybody that needs a fancy parrot brooch, this would have looked good at the Met Gala, wouldn't it? All the men are wearing brooches now. This would look
This
good.
is natural diamonds, cabochon sapphire. It's got a black onyx beak. They're natural emeralds, natural sapphires, rubies, and the Yellowstones are also rubies.
It's got the big
Excuse me,
four,
I'm sorry, sapphires.
the big four in there.
All
and
hand done, beautiful piece.
We have, we do have this emerald pendant. This is just a nice basic emerald pendant. I don't know the origin of this one, but it's a nice clean stone. We bought this because it was just a really pretty clean emerald. And we have, this is indicolite, isn't it?
Another
This-
tourmaline.
This one has more of a blue quality, but this is indicolite tourmaline. And again, color is all to the eye of the beholder. We have people come in and they like, I want something green. They may go through all of these stones we've talked about tonight and just see one that they really connect with and have an aha with. If that's what
Show
they
us
say.
another tourmaline. I love this stone. This stone is absolutely beautiful.
We had this one in the sale last week. So this is a beautiful blue-green tourmaline also.
I'm
In
surprised that's
the, in the
good.
halo. It's very pretty. All right, Mr. Bremmett.
I
Is that
think
the
we
guy
about
yours?
got it.
Yep.
Tonight was more educational than anything else. We hope that people learn a little bit, you learn a little bit about emeralds and the origins and values and qualities. But again, if you have any questions or you want to talk about emeralds, you can call us. You can come by and see us. We have some beautiful stones in stock right now for May. And we'd love to help you design something beautiful around this.
We did have a beautiful ring we just finished that we wanted to show tonight, but it was delivered.
It was sold right when we finished. The first person saw it bought it.
I'll
That was the video right there.
It was delivered today, so
Yep.
we didn't have that to show, but thank you so
Here's a
much
video.
for joining us tonight. We hope this has been a fun educational night. We'll be back next Tuesday at 7 o'clock. It's our time for Russ and Mimi Live. Here, Gabrielle, put that ring up on.
There's the one that just went out.
Actually, so we're going out, why don't you, she's got a few pictures of some of the pieces that we've done.
Yeah.
Got a lot of interest in emerald engagement rings. Kind of, all of a sudden, it's like people talk about one thing and then we don't talk about it for a while. But we've got quite a few people wanting emerald engagement rings. So we would love to help you with any of your custom desire. Oh, that's a
Custom
different show.
design desires are here.
We're here, you can make an appointment on our website, and we are your concierge jewelers here in North Raleigh. We can do Zoom consultations if you're not in the Raleigh area. We do that all the time, so
We work by appointment and appointment only, which means it's our time. When you come in, we're gonna spend our time with you. It's private, it's quiet, it's on your own. And we
it's
help,
fun.
yeah, we're here to help you figure it out. We'll help you decide what you need, what you want. We're not here to sell you anything. We're here to help you make a good decision on a beautiful piece of jewelry. You can be part of the design process, and when you get your final piece, it's your personal piece. We guarantee
So
you're
much
gonna love it.
fun. Yes, it was fun delivering that beautiful emerald. Connie just came on. Hey Connie, you'll have to go back and watch. We did emeralds and emerald alternatives tonight. So thank you so much from North Raleigh. Thanks for watching Shop with Mimi and Russ Live, and we'll see you next Tuesday at 7. That's our time.
God bless you all, and happy Mother's Day
Happy,
to all the moms.
oh my
out there.
goodness, happy Mother's Day, happy anniversary,
That's
happy
right.
birthday. It's a big weekend here for the Brummets.
That's why I'm starting to celebrate early.
Good night.